Though.
A little something for the weekend with Sam Hunt.
Indeed, a little something for the weekend. Here we are with Sam Hunt. G'day, Sam.
G'day, Wammo. G'day. How are you there?
I'm well. Sounds like a metronome-free phone line.
A metronome-free. Well, that's right. We've had this electric fence somewhere up there. I think anyway, it's gone now. It's good. So I've done my shock treatment for another while. It was getting a bit much. I was developing a bit of a twitch.
Yeah.
On the phone too much, and you'd get off the phone, you'd still be twitching.
It could disrupt the creative process as well.
It can be quite disruptive, Wammo.
Yeah.
But what I thought I'd do today is I saw somebody recently, and she was saying to me, you should sort of make your program sort of like book reviews. And like when you don't like a book of poems, say so and rubbish it and so on.
Well, you do that.
I don't really.
Well, sometimes if you don't like something, you'll say.
I do, yeah. But I sort of feel, in a way, I mean, there are enough wankers out there who can do that, you know what I mean? I quite like revisiting. I mean, well, today I want to revisit a couple of Amigo, a couple of people that we've featured their poems on this program. Because I simply like to go back to them because I think they're so good.
Yeah.
And the first is somebody I've spoken a lot of in the last month, Sarah Broom, and because I can't leave the poems alone, and so rather than going to talking about some poet who I feel quite lukewarm about, I'd much rather go to somebody I feel that I can't get out of my head.
Yeah.
And so, a long justification for telling the opening poem of her volume, which is, by the way, if you haven't heard it in previous programs, is called Tigers at Afitu, Tigers at Afitu, published by Auckland University Press. A wonderful book. As far as if I was judging the book of the year, there wouldn't be any question in my mind.
Really?
Oh, definitely.
Straight at the top.
Book of a large chunk of one's lifetime. Here's the opening poem of the book. It's called Snow. It was as the first... sorry, I'll start again. It was as the snow started falling again that she blurted it out. So they were all just standing there, gazing up, knee-deep in snow. The little one thigh-deep when they heard it, the news had slipped out like a necklace from a sleeve, not meant for the kids, not meant for here, for the snow woman with a pink hat and old carrot nose, for the creaking pines, the cracked plastic sled, the neat rabbit tracks that shied all over the white field. So they stood there, the little one, lost in any case in this too white world, his too cold hands stiff in his wet wool gloves, his feet stuck somewhere miles down below. And once it was out, she wished she could call it back in, like a dog you could whistle to, but it wouldn't, you couldn't. So they stood there in the snow, and the big one asked, of course, what's that? And his dad just looked straight back at her, his clove brown eyes soft with fear, the hound's sour breath hot on the nape of his neck. That's called Snow. That's by Sarah Broom. It's of all edgy poems, I think that's the edgiest one I've come across in a long time.
What an opener as well.
Yeah, was an opener. Was an opener of a book, you know, wonderful, and the book is great. So strongly recommended, urged. I'm ordering some copies from the publishers so I can give them to certain friends. If I have any friends, I'm not sure they have.
Oh, come on.
The books on my bookshelf. What does Ezra Pound say, Wammo? You know, oh world, my poems are written for 5 people. Oh world, I pity you. You do not know these 5 people. That's one of those cantos. Another old friend. This person has not, when I say old friend, he isn't, in this case, he is indeed an old friend in the personal sense. Michael Richards, MR. And I featured some of his poems, like The Gingerbread Man, and After the Funeral, probably about 6 weeks ago. Well, here's a new one off the Richards table. It's a new poem, so ladies and gentlemen, we have a world premiere coming up.
Wow, cool.
You know, we should have Don McGlashan back with that guitar. It's called First Inspection by Michael Richards. When the snails came into the garden, I said, crawl away, snails, or I will poison you. When the birds came into the garden, I said, fly away, birds, or I will shoot you. And I got my father's old air gun from the shed and defended my plants. When death came into the garden, all the colours disappeared, the lights changed. Bugger off, I said, I'm not ready yet. He made a tour of my garden, inspecting the winter plantings. The hem of his robe brushed the grass and it bristled where it passed. He made a note on his sleeve and was gone. The twilight came back and slowly the birds and snails returned to the garden. That's Michael Richards' new poem.
I like that.
Like that, eh? It's good. Well, I'm certainly certainly hoping that Michael Richards does put a book of poems together. It's calling out for it.
So how did you get that? Yeah, did he send that to you?
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. You know, on the new email machine, Wammo.
Yeah.
And so that's great. It's lovely having that. And I've just been sent some new books of poems that have been published, but I haven't really had a chance to read yet. But I'm still waiting for something to jump out of those ones. But those are the ones. And here's a new one of mine.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. This is just a little short one. It's called, I've got a collection of poems, I think I've told you, called Chords, coming out in April of next year.
Yeah.
Chords, as in the musical, C-H-O-R-D-S. I could be talking about your corduroys, but I don't know how to spell that. I don't wear them either. So here, this is Chord 49, subtitled, Who's That at the Table? I may drop the subtitle. Chord 49. Was I one of the 12 who sat with you at the table, the one still counting his beads while the rest got stuck in? When Judas kissed you, I thought he was on your side. Could be I got it wrong, which is, it seems quite likely too. The man they nailed up was never you. So that's Chord 49. That'll keep everyone happy for the weekend.
Yeah. Interesting, that one. Interesting.
It's part of a. It's almost part of a. Yeah, well, it is part of a. It's sort of part of a bigger thing happening, but that's a new little part of it. So it's.
The hint of the disciples in there somewhere.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
very New Testament.
Yeah.
Not Pentecostal. I've always had difficulty with this Holy Ghost business, but I mean, I'm interested in all those sort of ideas people have, ways of explaining the unknown. But the idea of the Holy, I get worried about the. But anyway, yeah.
Well, it's interesting to hear you talk about that. So then we've never gone down that route before.
The old religious path. Yeah. I mean, some of the most wonderful poems that I know are sort of inverted commas religious. Of course, written by people who were complete atheists. I guess the obvious example would be R.A.K. Mason with that wonderful poem. I'm sure we've done it before. That one of his Judas Iscariot. Judas sat in the upper room in the Last Supper, and sitting there smiled up at his master, whom he knew the morrow would roll in disaster. At Christ's look he guffawed, for then as thereafter Judas was greatly given to laughter. Indeed, they always said he was the whitest and merriest, the veriest prince of good fellows. All the days of his life he lived gay as a cricket that sings like a thrush that sings in a thicket. All the days of his life he would sing like a... how's it go? All the days of his life he would sing like a thrush that sings on a thorn. Oh, he was the most sporting bird that ever was born.
Isn't it funny that the Last Supper, that may or may not have happened, is still the most talked about dinner party that ever occurred? Or did not occur?
Well, that's possibly right. But then again, some of the dinner parties up here that never occur often get mentioned too. Well, Wammo, look, it's good. I'm just sorry to hear that one of the local high schools up here got a big drug bust a few days ago.
Oh.
Apparently they were after mushrooms.
Oh,
so there you go.
It is the season.
Well, they grow in the school, apparently. It must be embarrassing to the authorities. They've got the old gold tops sort of growing around the playground. I don't know what to think. Anyway, I'm going back to bed. Good to talk to you, Wammo.
Thank you, Sam. See ya.
Good. All the best.